Amara Johnson tightened her white coat and wiped the blood off her hands. Another life saved. She glanced at the flickering ceiling lights. The small hospital she poured her soul into for years. It had been her dream, a place for people the city forgot, until the city took it from her. They said it was low funding, but she knew the truth. A powerful billionaire had bought the land overnight and turned it into a nightclub. Now, she worked under fluorescent lights as a care nurse, quiet, invisible, saving lives, while her own dreams bled out behind her smile. The automatic doors burst open. Paramedics rush in, drenched from the storm, pushing a stretcher. Paramedic. Male, mid-30s. Severe head trauma. Pulse weak. Trauma Bay 3 now. Move. Amara ordered. He's losing too much blood. We need an O-negative stat, but the storage is low. No match available. He won't make it, the nurse said. Amara hesitates. Look at the monitors. Then at his face again. Something in her chest tugs. Deep, instinctive. Test me, she said. The room freezes. You? Amara, that's risky. Do it. I'm not watching another person die tonight. Moments later, the needle pierces her arm. Blood flows into the transfusion line. Tonight, Jason White wasn't a billionaire. He was just a broken man fighting for his life, and she was the stranger keeping him alive. When Amara wakes in a dim recovery room, she's pale but breathing. Her arm aches where the needle had been. You saved him. Amara. The surgery went well. Jason White, is he awake? Not yet, but his fiancée, Dr. Clara Scott, just arrived. The door opens. Clara steps in, designer heels clicking, perfume sharp and cold. Her smile gleams like glass. You must be the nurse, she said. Yes, I donated my blood. It was a perfect match. Clara's smile doesn't reach her eyes. How sweet. I'll make sure he knows who saved him. But she never did. 3 days later, Jason wakes. He blinks groggily, and the first face he sees isn't Amara's. It's Clara's, her manicured hand gripping his. You're awake, baby. You scared me. When the hospital released him to recover home, Amara was quietly reassigned as a caretaker for his 10-year-old mute daughter, Ella White. He looks confused. His throat is dry. Amara stands at the doorway with her small suitcase, nerves trembling through her fingers. A faint sound draws her attention. A little girl sits by the window, clutching a toy rabbit. Her dark curls frame a pale, thoughtful face. Hi, sweetheart. I'm Amara. I'll be here to take care of you. Ella looks up, eyes bright, curious, but silent. She raises her hands and signs carefully. Amara pauses, watching her fingers move. You said thank you? Ella nods. For the first time in months, Amara feels warmth. Not from the billionaire she saved, but from a child who couldn't even speak her gratitude. Later that evening, Jason stands at the top of the staircase, one hand on the rail, watching quietly. Amara kneels beside Ella, brushing her hair, reading softly from a picture book. Her voice is gentle, melodic. Jason's jaw tightens. He doesn't know why he can't look away. Then Clara enters, her heels tapping like warning bells. She slides an arm around Jason's waist. You see that maid? She's new. Try not to get too attached. Jason says nothing, but his gaze lingers a moment longer on the woman, whose blood once flowed through his veins. The house was quiet that evening. The kind of quiet that feels heavy, like it's holding secrets. Amara adjusted the little girl's blanket, brushed her hair back, and smiled faintly. Lila, the mute daughter, had fallen asleep clutching her drawing tablet. On it, a picture of her father, and beside him, the nurse who made her laugh again. Amara's hand trembled as she tucked the blanket tighter. She whispered, "Sleep well, my angel." Then she turned, wiping her hands on her apron, just as the laughter echoed from downstairs. Clara's laughter. Sharp, high-pitched. It sliced through the calm like broken glass. Downstairs, Clara sat at the grand piano, swirling a glass of wine. Jason stood beside her, dressed in black, quiet, unreadable. His recovery had been slow, but she had made sure everyone believed she was the reason he lived. She risked her life for you, People said, "You owe her everything." Amara would overhear it, standing at the corner of the hallway, eyes down, lips pressed together. That same night, she walked past the living room with a tray of tea. The guests were laughing at some shallow joke when Clara's voice rose. "Oh, Jason," Clara giggled, resting her hand on his arm. "Remember how I stayed beside you when you almost died?" Jason smiled faintly, polite, not passionate. "I do," he said softly. Clara leaned in, kissing his cheek. "And now, look how far we've come." Amara froze in the doorway, heart aching. She wanted to say it. "That was me. I gave you my blood. I sat by your bed when everyone gave up, but she stayed silent. A maid doesn't correct her boss. A poor woman doesn't claim miracles." Later that night, when everyone had gone, she walked out to the balcony. The city lights shimmered below like distant hope. She thought about her old hospital, the one that was taken from her, the smell of antiseptic, the laughter of patients she once healed. Gone. All gone because one powerful man decided he wanted her land for a nightclub. She didn't know, not yet, that he was that man. Jason stepped out of the shadows behind her. "Still awake?" His voice was low, gentler than she'd ever heard it. Amara stiffened. "I was just making sure the house was secure, sir." He nodded, leaning against the railing beside her. His eyes were tired. "Not from work, from life. The stars are beautiful tonight," he murmured. Nora hesitated, then said softly, "They're always beautiful, sir. We just forget to look." He glanced at her. "You talk like someone who's seen too much pain." She forced a small smile. "You can't work in hospitals and not." Jason turned toward her fully now. His eyes, those same eyes she saw through the fog of his unconsciousness weeks ago, studied her face carefully. "Have we met before?" he asked quietly. Her heart skipped. "No, sir, not really." Jason chuckled faintly. "You say that maybe we have in another life." There was silence between them. The rain had stopped. The night was still. Days passed. Jason started walking again. Clara planned dinners, parties, and photo shoots. And Amara kept her distance. But his gaze always found her, in hallways, reflections through glass doors. One evening, she was serving tea when Clara snapped at her. "Can't you move faster?" Clara's voice was sharp. "Honestly, Jason, why do we still keep her?" Nora lowered her head, whispering, "I'm sorry, ma'am." Jason frowned. "Clara, she's doing her job." "Oh, please," Clara scoffed. "She's a maid, not a miracle worker." Amara's hand trembled, spilling a drop of tea onto the floor. Clara smirked. "Careful, darling. You wouldn't want to stain the marble." Jason shot Clara a warning look, but said nothing more. And in that silence, something in Amara cracked a little deeper. That night, she cried quietly in the staff quarters until she heard footsteps outside. Jason, he stood by her door hesitant. "Amara," he said softly, "may I come in?" She wiped her face quickly. "Sir, of course." He stepped inside, closing the door behind him. The air shifted, awkward, electric. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. "For Clara, she shouldn't have spoken to you like that." Nora shook her head. "It's fine, sir. I'm used to it." "That's the problem," he murmured, taking a step closer. "You shouldn't be." Their eyes met. For the first time, she saw the man behind the wealth, the loneliness, the weight, the longing for something real. He reached out, brushing a strand of hair from her face. Her breath hitched. "Sir," Jason's voice lowered, rougher now. "You looked after my daughter, even when Clara couldn't. You were there for me when I was helpless. You don't think I noticed, but I do." Her heart raced. "Jason," she whispered, his name, breaking rules she followed all her life. And before either could stop it, the space between them vanished. His hand slid gently along her jaw. Her fingers gripped the edge of the bed, unsure whether to pull away or fall. The scent of his cologne mixed with the faint salt of her tears. He leaned in, slow, deliberate, hesitant, until their lips met, soft, searching, like a man asking for forgiveness through touch. When he pulled back, his voice trembled. "I shouldn't have done that." But she whispered, "Then don't stop." The rest happened like the world had held its breath for them. No words, just heartbeats and heavy sighs. Her laughter turned into quiet gasps as his hands explored her, reverent, unsure, wanting. For one night, they were not master and maid, not rich or poor, just two broken souls finding home in each other's arms. When the dawn came, reality returned, cruel, cold, and uninvited. Jason sat at the edge of the bed, staring at the sunlight spilling through the window. Amara watched him, heart pounding, half hoping he'd say something. Anything. He stood, buttoning his shirt. "Last night shouldn't have happened," he said quietly. She froze. "Jason," he didn't look at her. "You should go before Clara wakes up." The words cut deeper than a knife. She wanted to scream, to remind him that she had saved him, that she had loved him in silence for months. But she only nodded and left barefoot, holding her tears like secrets. The next few days were torture. Clara noticed Jason's glances at Amara, the way his eyes softened when she entered a room. Jealousy is a wicked perfume, and Clara wore it like armor. Then came the accusation. "Amara wears Jason's wristwatch." Clara's voice echoed through the hall. "The one worth $500,000? Amara turned confused. I don't know, ma'am." Clara crossed her arms, smirking. "Of course you don't. Maybe you thought no one would notice." Jason appeared at the top of the stairs. "What's going on here?" Clara held up an empty case. "Your maid stole your watch." "That's not true." Amara cried, tears burning in her eyes. "I would never." Jason's expression darkened. "Clara, are you sure?" "I saw her near your drawer this morning." Clara lied smoothly. Amara's heart pounded. "Please, sir, I swear." But Clara interrupted. "Check her room if you don't believe me." The guard stormed off. Minutes later, they returned holding the watch. Clara smiled. "See." Amara froze. No, I didn't." Someone put it there. Jason's jaw tightened. "Enough." He turned away, disappointment shadowing his face. And right there, in front of everyone, the woman who gave him life was humiliated like dirt, until a small voice broke the silence. "Daddy." Everyone turned. It was Lila, standing at the top of the stairs, trembling, eyes wide. "Daddy, she's innocent." Jason froze. "Lila." His daughter hadn't spoken in years. Lila held up her tablet, pressing play. A video appeared. Clara slipping the watch into Amara's drawer. Gasps filled the hall. Jason's face went pale. "Clara," he whispered. Clara stammered, I can explain." But Jason's voice thundered, "Get out!" Amara stood there, tears streaming down her face, but not from relief, because in that same moment, as Clara fled the house, Amara saw something in Jason's files on the table. A photo of a construction site, her old hospital, the one that was shut down. The name on the signature, Jason White. The room spun. The man she'd loved, the man who she had saved his life, was also the man who destroyed her world. She backed away, whispering, You did this." Jason looked at her, confused. "What are you talking about?" "You bought my hospital," she said, voice shaking. "You took everything from me." Realization dawned on his face. "Amara, I didn't." But she stepped back, fire in her eyes. "You took my dream, my patience, my home. You didn't just steal my heart, Jason, you buried it." He reached out. "Please." She cut him off, voice trembling but strong. "I hope one day you'll understand what it feels like to lose everything, including the person who truly loved you." And she walked out into the rain, her tears mixing with the storm. 3 years. That's how long it took for silence to become her only friend, for pain to grow roots and turn into purpose. Rain drummed lightly against the window of a black sedan as it pulled up before the cathedral. Inside, Amara adjusted her veil, her reflection blurred by the drizzle. No longer in a maid's uniform, she was draped in quiet power now. Pearl earrings, a silk dress, poise carved by suffering. Her fingers traced a tiny hand resting on her lap. Her son, Eli, fast asleep. He was 3. His eyes, when open, were Jason's, His smile, hers, a living echo of a night she could never forget. "Ma'am," her driver said softly. "We're here." Nora inhaled deeply. Let's not keep the bride waiting. Inside the grand cathedral, chandeliers sparkled over rows of guests dressed in luxury and pride. The air smelled of lilies and perfume, and secrets. At the altar, Jason stood tall in a black tuxedo, his expression stoic, distant. He had aged not in years, but in grief. Clara's hand clung to his arm, trembling with excitement she mistook for love. Photographers whispered. The priest adjusted his robe. The orchestra swelled, until the heavy doors opened, and she walked in. Amara stood framed by the light spilling through the doorway. Rain glittered on her hair like diamonds. Every head turned. Every whisper froze. Jason blinked twice. His pulse stopped mid-beat, because in her arms was a boy. His boy. "Amara?" Jason's voice barely carried across the aisle. It wasn't a question. It was a memory trying to breathe again. She smiled faintly, but it wasn't warm. It was calm vengeance cloaked in grace. Her heels clicked against the marble as she walked forward, slow and deliberate, like a storm taking human form. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Clara's eyes widened. What is she doing here? Amara stopped at the front row, her gaze piercing through Jason like a blade that once loved him. "I heard there was a wedding," she said softly. "I brought a gift." Then she turned, kneeling beside her son. "Lie," she whispered. "Say hello to your father." The boy looked up with innocent eyes. "Daddy?" The word echoed to the cathedral like thunder, and in that single word, every lie he'd ever lived through came crashing down. Jason stumbled back, face pale. "What were you saying?" Amara stood tall. "I'm saying you left more than a broken heart behind, Jason Rivers. You left us." Clara's voice shook with rage. "This is absurd. Jason, tell her to leave." But Jason wasn't listening. His eyes were locked on the little boy, the curve of his jaw, the dimple on his cheek. "Is this true?" he whispered. "Is he mine?" Amara's eyes glistened. "You tell me." The priest coughed awkwardly. Guests murmured. Cameras clicked. Clara's composure shattered. She reached for Jason's arm, but he pulled away. "This is a wedding," she hissed. "She's ruining everything." Amara laughed quietly. "Funny. That's exactly what you said the night you ruined me." Amara's voice steadied, firm but trembling with memory. "I never came to destroy Jason. I came to reveal." She looked at him. Really looked. "Do you remember the night you were dying? When no one could save you? It was me. Not Clara. Me. I gave you my blood. My life. I risked everything because I believe you were worth saving." The room fell still. Jason's throat tightened. "What were you saying?" "I was the test subject for that new electrical therapy your hospital used. The one Clara claimed she approved. I was the one who signed consent, the one who nearly lost my pulse trying to keep you alive." Her voice cracked. "And you thanked her." Jason's jaw clenched. He turned toward Clara, whose face had drained of color. "She's lying," Clara stammered. "She's just—" Amara stepped forward, cutting her off. "Your own daughter is proof. The same girl you ignored. She recorded that night. You took credit for a life you didn't save." A murmur ran through the crowd. Phones lifted discreetly. Truth had a way of finding light. Jason's eyes darkened with realization. "Clara?" "Jason, please." She reached for him, but he stepped back. "Get out," he said quietly. The same words he had once said to Amara, but this time they carried justice, not cruelty. Jason turned to Amara. His voice broke. "You should have told me. I searched for you everywhere for 3 years. Her laugh was soft, aching. "Would you have believed me then? Or humiliated me again in front of your perfect friends?" He had no answer, only regret. Jason lifted his son into his arms for the first time. The boy smiled, touching his father's face gently. "You have my eyes," Jason whispered. Eli giggled. "Mommy says I got your stubbornness, too." Amara smiled sadly. "He's right." Jason looked up at her, tears brimming. "You raise him alone?" She shook her head. Not entirely. Someone helped me. Her tone changed, colder now. My husband. Jason froze. Husband. From Cathedral's entrance, a shadow moved, tall, broad, wearing a dark coat. His presence filled the space like thunder. Matteo De Luca, a name whispered in fear, a man who controlled more than money. He controlled fates. He stepped beside Amara, sliding an arm around her waist possessively. Everything all right, love? His voice was deep, accented, calm in a way that warned danger. Amara nodded. Perfectly. Jason's eyes burned with confusion, jealousy, guilt. You married him? Amara held her chin high. Yes, the man who found me bleeding in the rain. The one who kept me alive when your rejection nearly killed me. Matteo smiled faintly. You left her in the storm. I pulled her out. She was mine before she even knew it. Sometimes fate hands your heart to another. Not because they fit you better, but because the one you loved broke you too deep to return. Jason took a step closer. Amara, please. I know. But you did nothing to know, she interrupted, voice trembling. You saw me cry, Jason. You saw the pain in my eyes and called it drama. You turned away when I needed you most. Tears slipped down her cheek. And yet, I still loved you. He swallowed hard. Do you still? The question hung heavy, forbidden. Matteo's hand tightened around her waist. Jason's eyes searched hers like a drowning man searching for air. She whispered, You were my first heartbreak, Jason, but also the reason I learned how to rise. She turned to leave, holding her son's hand. But at the door, she stopped, looking back one last time. Jason, she said softly, you once told me stars are always there, we just forget to look. She smiled faintly. I never stopped looking. Jason's voice trembled. And what did you see? Light, she whispered. But not from you, from the one who stayed when you didn't. And with that, she walked out, leaving Jason standing at the altar, surrounded by shattered vows and haunting truth. But this was only the beginning of his pain. Love never truly dies. A few weeks had passed since that cathedral morning, but Jason Rivers had not forgotten Amara, and fate had no intention of letting him. Jason stood at the head of the long table, sleeves rolled up, jaw tense. His company, Rivers Group, was bleeding. Stocks had crashed, investors had fled, and the name behind the attack was whispered like thunder. De Luca Enterprises. Matteo De Luca, ruthless, strategic, and married to the woman Jason once loved. A voice broke his thoughts. Sir, the De Luca representative is here. Jason looked up. Send them in. The door opened and the air shifted. Amara glanced up. Because your company sits on the land where my hospital once stood. He froze. Poetic, isn't it? She said softly. You took my dream to build your empire. Now I'm returning the favor. Jason's voice dropped low. You think this will heal you? No, she whispered. But maybe it'll make me stop bleeding. Their eyes locked, both daring the other to look away first. Neither did. That night, Jason sat alone in his penthouse, staring at the rain streaking down glass. Memories clawed at him. Her laughter, her tears, her leaving. He poured another drink before his phone buzzed. A message. We need to talk. Hey! He didn't hesitate. Rain poured like confession. Amara stood beneath the broken roof, holding a candle that barely fought the wind. Jason approached, soaked but steady. This place, he murmured. It was yours. She nodded. I used to save lives here. Now it's rubble. He stepped closer, his voice raw. Why bring me here? Because, she said, meeting his eyes, this is where it all began, where I lost everything, my purpose, my home, my faith. And somehow Jason's breath caught. Amara, I didn't know. I swear, I didn't know it was yours. I don't care about excuses, she cut in, tears mixing with the rain. I care about the truth. He took another step. The truth is, I never stopped thinking about you. Her eyes widened. Don't. I mean it, he said, voice trembling. Every night, I saw you in my dreams. Every morning, I woke up hating myself for letting you walk away. Amara's lips quivered. You had a choice. And I chose wrong, he whispered. But I'm done running. He reached out slowly, touching her hand. She didn't pull away. The candle between them flickered, caught between wind and fire. Jason leaned closer. Tell me you feel nothing and I'll walk away. She stared at him, heart pounding, voice breaking. I can't. He kissed her. The kiss was desperate, trembling, full of everything they'd buried. Years of silence cracked open. Tears mixed with rain as he held her face, whispering her name like prayer. When they pulled apart, she stepped back, shaking. This is wrong, she whispered. I'm married. He laughed bitterly. To a man who sees you as property, not a person. Don't, she said, voice trembling. Mateo saved my life. Jason's tone softened. And I ruined it. I know. But Amara, look at me. Do you love him? She froze. I didn't ask if you owe him, he continued, stepping closer. I asked if you love him. Tears slipped down her cheek. I wish I did, she whispered. Suddenly, headlights flared. Engines roared. Black cars surrounded the lot. Mateo's men. Jason pulled her behind him instinctively. Stay back. Mateo stepped out calm and dangerous. So this is where you come to pray, Amara? Mateo, she began. He smiled faintly. No need to explain. I see the truth. His guards moved closer. Jason tensed. If you're here to threaten me. I don't threaten, Mateo said. I erase. Amara stepped between them, voice breaking. Stop this. Mateo, please. This is what it looks like. He tilted his head. Then tell me, what is it? She swallowed hard. It's closure. Jason looked at her, pain flickering in his eyes. She didn't meet his gaze. Closure, he repeated. How poetic. Then his tone turned cold. Leave the country, Rivers. Or the next time we meet, your company won't be the only thing that burns. He turned to Nora, brushing her cheek possessively. Come, love. Amara hesitated, eyes lingering on Jason, who stood in the rain, fists clenched, eyes full of heartbreak. Then she whispered, I'm sorry, and walked away. Some stories don't end forever. They end in peace, quiet, broken, beautiful peace. And maybe that's what love really is. The courage to walk away when staying would destroy you both.